You right now, Ellie was applying major pressure to get Caitlin Clark to come on to New York, and I think that'd be a great destination for y'all. I've been saying it, bruh. Caitlin Clark need to get the hell out of Indy.
They thought she wouldn't notice. They thought she'd just smile, keep her head down, and accept life in Indianapolis as if she didn't see the storm brewing around her. But Caitlin Clark has been around too long, played in too many big games, seen too many locker rooms to not understand exactly what was happening.
Caitlin Clark to the New York Liberty? Confirmed? You guys? For real? Photos circulating went viral of Caitlin Clark in the bowels of the Barclays Center with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and Breanna Stewart.
New York wasn't just flirting. They were planning. The signs weren't subtle. They were written in bright neon lights for anyone paying attention. And in the WNBA world, every single player, coach, and fan who saw it knew exactly what was going down. The New York Liberty weren't just admiring Caitlin Clark from a distance. They were actively recruiting her. This wasn't a whisper. It was a loud, echoing statement made in front of the entire league. It started with a mascot. Yeah, a mascot. Not just any mascot. Ellie, the Liberty's walking embodiment of playful chaos. Posted up right next to Caitlin Clark during All-Star Weekend. Not during a timeout, not in some casual moment after the buzzer, but right there in the middle of everything. In front of cameras, in front of fans, in front of the league. A harmless photo op? Please.
I have to say that the Liberty are currently running the full court press to try to get Caitlin Clark at some stage in her career. Do I think they'll get Caitlin Clark next year? No. Do I think it'll be the year after? No.
This was New York's opening chess move. And if you think Caitlin didn't notice, you don't understand how these games are played. The next moment came hours later, deep inside the bowels of Barclays Center, where the air is thick with that mix of sweat, ambition, and whispers about the next big move. Caitlin Clark wasn't walking alone. She was shoulder to shoulder with New York Liberty coach Sandy Brondello, two-time MVP Breanna Stewart, and sharpshooting phenom Sabrina Ionescu. But here's the thing. Clark's agent, Aaron Kane, was right there with her. Now let me explain something. Agents don't casually stroll into tunnel conversations unless something's being discussed that matters. This wasn't a good game, good luck, see you next time type of conversation. This was business. This was the future. This was a championship caliber franchise laying the groundwork for a generational player to one day wear their jersey. And don't think the Liberty are dreaming small. No, they're picturing a Caitlin Clark-led dynasty in the biggest media market in the world.
It don't get better. No. Mascots, yes. The New York Liberty mascot, Ellie, was applying major pressure to Caitlin yesterday. I mean, she just could not stop messing with Caitlin. And I mean, it got so bad, Ellie.
A place where her skills, her personality, and her star power wouldn't just be appreciated, they'd be amplified to a level the WNBA hasn't seen before. You think the Liberty were just being friendly? Look at the timing. Clark's Indiana Fever had just been blown out without her in the lineup. 98-77, a disaster. She was nursing her third soft tissue injury of the season. And every time she tried to come back, she was thrown into a system that somehow made her less dangerous than she'd ever been in her career. Let that sink in. A generational scorer, a court vision savant, reduced to a role player by the very franchise that should have been building everything around her. And to make matters worse, the national sports talk heads, the so-called analysts, had the audacity to go on ESPN and CBS and claim, with a straight face, that the Fever were more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. That's not just an insult. That's a warning sign that the people running the show have no idea what they're doing. Because when Clark's on the floor and running the offense, the Fever aren't just competitive, they're watchable. They matter.
Is watching you just sit here and be all up in Ellie's face. I love this. I think Caitlin Clark was just showing love, but I'm telling you right now, Ellie was applying major pressure to get Caitlin.
Without her, they're a ghost ship drifting toward irrelevance. But in New York, she saw something else entirely. She saw competence, she saw structure, she saw a franchise that treated its stars like stars instead of disposable parts in some rigid, doomed system. She saw a coach who knows how to adjust an offense to fit elite talent rather than jamming elite talent into a box that doesn't fit. She saw the kind of respect that only a few organizations in professional sports understand how to give. And that's when the real danger for Indiana began. Because this is how it always starts in sports. First, the subtle signs. Then, the public smiles. Then, the agent meetings. Then, the shift in body language. The little sparks of joy when a player is around the people she might one day call teammates. Eventually, those sparks turn into reality. Now, do I think Caitlin Clark is leaving Indiana next year? No. Do I think she's leaving the year after? Probably not. But in 2028, when her rookie contract is up and the world is hers to choose from, you better believe she's going to remember exactly how she felt walking through those tunnels at Barclays Center.
Getting on national TV, being paid by ESPN, paid by CBS, and have the nerve to look at the viewing public, lie to them, and say the Indiana Fever are...
The Fever front office? They should be in panic mode right now. And if they're not, they're more clueless than I thought. This isn't just about basketball. This is about the economic engine of the league. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a $36 million economic impact for Indianapolis alone. She's responsible for nearly 27% of the league's total economic activity. When she plays, arenas sell out, viewership spikes to historic levels, merch sales explode. The Fever can pretend all they want that this is business as usual, but you don't get tunnel meetings with your agent present by accident. You don't get Liberty superstars like Stewart and Ionescu chatting you up post-game for no reason. And you sure as hell don't get the team mascot practically glued to your side during All-Star Weekend unless there's a bigger play being set in motion. This is the part casual fans miss. The part where championship teams play the long game. The part where smiles and selfies are just the surface layer hiding the real deal-making underneath.
Lauren, I'm curious. Are those same people going to be on TV this evening, tomorrow morning? Are they going to look in the camera and double down on the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without...
That Liberty meeting wasn't just friendly conversation. It was the start of an organized recruitment campaign, the kind of operation that championship-caliber franchises execute with precision. And the Fever? They're still debating whether to let Clark bring the ball up the court. That's the difference between New York and Indiana. One side is playing championship chess, the other is playing tic-tac-toe with their own roster. Think about the imagery. Clark in the tunnel of Barclays Center, flanked by winners, embraced by a culture that thrives on maximizing talent. Then picture her in Indiana, getting thrown into an offense that treats her like a role player while the team spirals in mediocrity. Which one do you think she's going to remember when the time comes to make a choice? The timing for New York couldn't be better. Clark has been battered this season, 3 different muscle injuries, each one a gut punch to her momentum. She's being asked to adjust to a style of play that doesn't just fail to elevate her game, it actively suppresses it. And when she looks across the court and sees the Liberty, fast-paced, free-flowing, stars empowered to play their game, she sees the career she could be having. She sees the player she could be again.
Clark looks unbelievably happy talking to these folks. But this is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. When you start seeing the wheels in motion...
Let's not forget the numbers, because the numbers tell the truth, even when people try to lie. Clark's return from injury against the Liberty drew 2 million viewers on ABC, peaking at 8 million, the 3rd most watched WNBA game in ESPN history. Without her, Fever games see viewership drop by nearly 40%. Arena attendance follows the same trend. With Clark, the Fever sell out 15,000-seat arenas. Without her, they're lucky to scrape together the league average of under 10,000. And that's before you even touch the merchandise sales, the sponsorship deals, the national headlines she generates. This is what the Liberty see. They see the economic engine she is. They see the way she turns casual viewers into die-hard fans. They see the way she changes the conversation from who's playing tonight to how do we watch Caitlin Clark? And they know if they get her, they don't just get a player, they get the league's most valuable asset in every sense of the word. That's why this isn't just about money, it's about respect.
Gets traded, a player eventually marks their next destination. The Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize.
It's about putting Clark in a situation where her game can grow instead of shrink. In New York, they wouldn't dream of moving her out of position to experiment with rotations. They wouldn't tell her to defer to a lesser ball handler just to see if it might work. They'd build the offense around her strengths the way championship teams are supposed to. Picture this: Clark running the pick and roll with Brianna Stewart. Clark breaking down defenses and kicking it out to Ionescu for wide open threes. Clark threading no-look passes to Jonquel Jones for easy buckets. The spacing, the tempo, the sheer unpredictability of that offense would be enough to give opposing coaches nightmares. And in New York's system, it's not just possible, it's inevitable. Now, contrast that with Indiana. Contrast it with the endless grind of playing in a system that doesn't value what you do best. Contrast it with having to claw for touches in the very offense you're supposed to be leading. Contrast it with the physical punishment of having no real protection from your own coach's system, resulting in injuries that never had to happen. The difference is glaring, and Clark sees it. Everyone sees it. And if the Fever can't see it, then maybe they're blind, or maybe they just don't care. But they should care, because if they lose Clark, they lose everything.
Built upon Caitlin Clark's strengths. It's that simple. It's that simple. What's wild is you had the easiest gig in the business. This was the easiest gig in the business. All you had to do was show up, yo.
And it's not like the Liberty are trying to hide their intentions. The mascot photo was a wink. The tunnel meeting was a handshake. The public camaraderie was a calling card. And the presence of Clark's agent was the megaphone blasting this message to the league. We want her. We're ready. And when the time comes, we'll make our move. 2028 might seem far away, but in the world of sports recruitment, that's tomorrow. The Liberty have already begun building the perfect landing spot. They've got the roster, they've got the cap space, they've got the culture, and now they've got the connection. Indiana, they've got a coach running an outdated offense and a front office pretending not to notice the best player they'll ever have slipping away.
Sometimes in the 90s, okay, run your offense, but y'all listen to me on this defensive end. I'll let y'all do what y'all want on Caitlin. The offense is yours. I'm going to handle this defensive side of the ball. We're going to get better over here. You had the easiest gig in the business. You win.